And I'm just make sure.
Are you all on gallery mode, or are you on? Oh, sorry, Pete.
Make sure you're on mute, etc. Mute and your videos are off, so we can just see these five and Kitty. Lovely people. So, good morning all, and welcome to our lovely Saturday morning little chat that we've been doing. Really good one today. I'm really looking forward to today because we've got three different people and real different backgrounds and different levels and different everything. But the one unifying factor is that they're all Cbma graduates, and I think it's going to be really good for everyone to listen on in to just kind of see what their stories, so we welcome the birthday girl Susan.
Yay.
Good morning everyone.
We welcome Olimpia.
Hello everybody.
And we welcome Pia, and of course we welcome our dear Christine.
Hello.
Hello.
So I suppose should we start with Susan? You've just come back. You finished filming, haven't you?
Yes, we wrapped last night actually. Yeah, so just finished, and I haven't unpacked my car yet. So I've been in transit.
Well, I think you've been sleeping in the car as well, by looking.
I'm laying in the van. Yeah.
And all three of you were working together. And I suppose, should we start at that question of, you're a makeup designer, let's talk about the project, if you can talk about as much as you can, the project you just finished, Susan. Tell us what you've been working on and how you chose, why or how Olimpia, Pia, etc. And we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I've been working on a crime drama, which is set in Whitstable. It's called Whitstable Pearl, that I can tell you. I can't really tell you too much else about what it is. I don't want to give away any spoilers, as it were, but it's a 6 episodic drama. And Pia and Olimpia came on with me because I knew them from Cbma, and I was teaching there at one point in makeup, and met Pia, and I just thought she was fantastic. And I knew Olimpia from before, and I know that Olimpia is such a hard worker and just gives 100% of herself to everything. And I just saw them in their personalities and the way they were, and I just thought they would be perfect to come on with me, because that's what we want. We want people who are, easy to get along with as well, apart from being very good at what they do.
Oh, sorry, Pete. Can I just sort of jump in, just because I just at the start of our sort of like chat. I think it's good for everybody who's listening in to know that all three of you came from very different backgrounds, and I'm going to briefly go over it with my sort of jagged memory thing. Susan, you came to us already experienced. She was a very qualified hairdresser. And Olimpia, you was already a makeup designer, an artist from back home, and you came over to restudy and took it upon yourself to kind of go right back to trainee level. And Pia, as far as I recall, you didn't have a background. Did you have a background in hair and makeup?
No, I taught myself special effects, but on a very low level. I didn't really ever use silicons or anything like that, but no, apart from that, no background.
Now, I have to say that one thing that does sort of stand out about who's that? Something that does stand out about all of you is your determination and obviously your eagerness to kind of sort of crack on with it. Pia, I've got a very, very fond recollection of you when we was filming The Nevers, standing outside the hotel, guiding everybody into the car park tonight. And I remember saying to Charmaine at the time, she's going to go far. She's literally taking it upon herself to kind of just get out there. And you actually think you've got such a fantastic way of preempting how you can help. And that's such a good qualification. You know, Olympia, you are just, you know, you're a force to be reckoned with. You're very good at what you do, but you're also very humble about how experienced you are. And Susan, obviously, you're my my up and coming designer that is going to take my job out from under my feet very soon.
Oh, I don't know about that, Lord. I don't know about that.
Marcella, by the way, I literally watched it back to back, partly because I love it. But it's my dog. But it was very, very good. I'm going to go back to you. I just thought it was good to have a bit of background on everybody.
Yeah, but let's maybe let's start with Pia. So Pia, give us your, you know, say the background of what you were doing before you joined and why you joined Cbma, and why you actually, one of the questions from Elizabeth is what made you want to start a career in hair and makeup?
Well, I think I was a little bit almost like lost in what I wanted to do. I was kind of just floating around. I just always wanted to work, and I wasn't unhappy working. I just knew I could probably be happier. And I taught myself special effects, and I think I always wanted that to just be like a hobby. I don't know. I kind of pushed it to the side, and yeah. And then I kind of got to a point where I was like, I know what I want to do, and I feel like I put it off for a while. But yeah, then I found Cbma, and for a long time I thought, oh, you know, I ummed and ahed about whether it was really what I wanted to do, and I think I doubt myself a little bit. And then I just got to a point where I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to do hair and makeup. I have such like a creative mind. Like I don't know, like I love drawing and I love painting people's faces. And I think, yeah, it just pushed me straight into it. And I'm forever grateful, you know, for everyone at the Academy, because, you know, I'm in a very happy place right now. And I'm just so glad that I went and done it.
Now, Olimpia, yours is a much more sort of intricate background. So tell us about your wonderful background.
So I've started my makeup career in Romania when I was in my second year of studying at the university. I studied business administration and all that stuff. I just wanted to be like an independent woman, but I kind of like did not know that that's not going to be the path I'm going to be taking. And I remember I was watching that TV channel, Fashion TV, very much. It was all the time on my TV and so on. And I was just amazed and looking at it. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I think I want to do something like that. And in Romania, things are separate, hair and makeup. So it's either you're a makeup artist, either a hairstylist. And I just thought to myself, having no whatsoever experience or knowledge of that, what that might mean, I was like, oh, do you know what? If I cut somebody's hair and it goes wrong, it's going to be going totally wrong. Whereas if I do makeup and something goes wrong, you can just, you know, like wipe it off and that'll be fine. So I said, okay, I think I'm going to pick makeup out of the two ones. And I've trained at an academy in Romania, which was the only one. And it also had makeup for TV and film. And while studying there, I realized, you know what? I don't want to go into fashion. That's not what I want. I think I'm more drawn to character makeup and, you know, reading, create and building the look of the characters. And then little by little, I started working in cinema and also TV there. And I did a lot of co-productions there. And I got to know a lot of designers and the head of departments from different countries, America, Canada, France, whatever. And in Romania, we're very limited in terms of products, techniques, everything. We do not have wigs in Romania. I mean, like only the theater people kind of like make them for their shows, and that's it. There's nowhere where you can go and ask of somebody to make a wig and all that stuff. And whilst working, I realized, and I thought to myself, you know what, instead of being here and waiting for other people to come in and bring all the, you know, like latest techniques and products and everything, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just gonna go to them. And I picked the UK because I have two of my best friends living here already. And I remember before coming here, I did thorough research for like a year. I've researched and researched academies where to go and to train. Also because I know that here, I mean, like here in the UK, you are like a hair and makeup artist. And I was only a makeup artist in Romania. I did not have any knowledge of hair. Well, I kind of like helped, you know, the team around with little stuff like, can you do a ponytail, can you braid this, can you do that, here, pass you this, pass you that. So we can all, you know, work very well together and get things done as quickly as possible. And I remember I was scouting for an academy, and I chose Cbma because having a knowledge of kind of like what hair and makeup for TV and film is, the curriculum of the academy is just brilliant. It like touches every little bit of the hair and makeup that somebody needs to know and to learn. Also, the tutors at the academy are people who work in the industry, and they're at the top of their game. And last but not least, I saw a video of Christine there on the Cbma page, and she was, you know, talking about what it means to work in hair and makeup in film and so on and all that stuff. And I know, like, while watching the video, I was like, oh my God, she's a tough one. Okay. She's definitely got it. She definitely knows everything. And that's where I want to go, because I want to be challenged and I want to, you know, learn as much as I can and everything. And yeah, kind of like.
Lovely. I mean, you've answered about 15 questions there. You've just really answered my questions there. And obviously, you know, let's try and keep it brief, Susan. Just. I remember you coming. I remember that first day you coming in, me and you having a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And just thinking, God, you know, like it was almost like we knew each other in second. You know, like.
Absolutely.
But anyway, sorry, apologies. Go on.
No, but it's true, and that was the first impression that I got of coming into the academy, actually, to Cbma, was this kind of family feeling and a cup of tea, and I just felt so comfortable. And my background is, you know, I was a hairdresser before I left school, really. You know, I was cutting hair in the school toilets and ended up doing all the teachers as well, you know, but it was off. I went through lots of different aspects of hairdressing, really, and colouring and all of that. And then, long story short, I ended up working for Channel 4 for 7 years in the makeup room, but as a hair person, and on daytime television. So it's all live, you know. It was very different, but you had to be really fast. And I loved that buzziness of it all. But then when that show, it was the Richard and Judy show, basically, I worked on, and was personal to both of them. When that, and that, lovely things came off of it as well. I ended up working with Helen Mirren and Rosamund Pike and different ones, you know, just as it goes, you know. But it gave me the sense that I'd never want to go back into a salon again, because I loved the buzziness of being and working with people on screen as well. And I knew that at that point, things were changing a lot in the industry, and you need it to be both, not just hair. And so that's when I came to see you. And from there, you know, it's just been amazing for me coming to Cbma, because it gave me the stepping stones into the industry. As a makeup artist as well, and becoming a designer. But my other part of my training was really taking a step back from everything. And it was Christine and yourself put me forward, like, for this job in Ray Marsden's, you know, and I went for the interview there. And because I was like old school, you know, could do curlers and perms and colouring and so forth, you know, fortunately, having been to Chrissy's, you know, been to the academy, I'd also sort of like touched on the period hair side of things and shapes and what have you, which is something that I'd never done, you know, as a current type of hairdresser in the modern field of where we are, you know, period stuff wasn't something, but I knew all about that coming because of, you know, the old school stuff. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey, I have to say. And working at Ray Marsden's as well was incredible. All that it was tough because I worked in a basement area, and I used to talk to the wigs. You know, I was there with all the head blocks and the wigs, and they were like my friends. But it was very intense, but incredible. You know, incredible. And I'm very grateful to that experience as well. And I think it goes like that. You know.
Here's a question that maybe to ask to at least two of you, and because of how you came in, and we've had, you know, I suppose we've had hairdressers, but you were more than a hairdresser in the sense that you'd been working on set on TV, so you know it was more not advanced, whatever the word is. You had this experience. When you left Cbma, did you go straight in as a makeup artist? Have you ever been a junior, or have you ever taken a job that's lower than a makeup artist? And would you have?
I would absolutely have. I think that, you know, when I first came out of Cbma, I came on to Chrissy's King Arthur and was working on the floor. And Charmaine made me
Oh,
I think we've lost.
you're frozen in the car.
To a junior, so just let me end.
Oh. No.
Are you there, Susan?
Someone's trying to get through. I've just declined it, so I'm back. Sorry about that.
We got to King Arthur. We got to King Arthur. You was on the floor in King Arthur, and Charmaine said to you,
"Yeah, you're a junior. You know, your junior status kind of thing," and that's what she did. And after that, you know, I mean, I think you've got to be willing to take steps back if you need to. No matter how much experience you've got, you will always learn something from somebody next to you or whatever's going on. You know, people have always got something to share, you know, and I think that's the beauty of being a creative, that everybody has something that is strong within them, and you can learn from each other.
I also think on that note, I think it's such an interesting industry, as in the jobs that you get are so unique to themselves. Everything's so different. I mean, this is why I love jumping between budgets of films. You know, I don't always want to do a great big Disney film. I mean, the next job that I'm doing is like literally like a minuscule job. I think I can just about get me and Lisa on it, and but the script is phenomenal. You know, and it's 4 weeks in one location in Wembley, and you know, you can park half a mile up the road if you're lucky and try to get in. But the script's lovely. Do you know what I mean? And I think one of the good things about this industry is that, like say, even though you're kind of sort of like, you know, I remember discussing with you a couple of years back about sort of when you wanted to start designing and sort of talking to you about the logistics of it. And you know, it's kind of good to know that we all do keep in touch. Do you know what I mean? We don't just, after you've done the course, we don't just throw you out into the world and say, get on with it. You know, you can give questions and things. And every job brings its own challenges. But I do know for sure that if I was doing a project that was really interesting, and I was to say to you, step back from designing a bit, come and do some work on this. You know, I'm pretty confident in the fact that you're kind of sort of like, you know, jump on and say, yeah, like all of you would. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of sort of the beauty of this industry, I think. You know, you can sort of jump between levels to an extent, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
No, I agree. I
Pia,
agree.
not Pia, Olympia. Sorry, Pia. Olympia, you've almost done, I think, every single of the artist, junior and trainee. Tell us about these experiences.
Well, personally, I do not mind jumping in between levels. So I know I come from Romania, where I had an experience of 10 years before coming here. Though I haven't done hair there, so I think, yes, what's most important is to learn. There is always something new to learn, and for me, I feel like like Christine said, every project is totally different. For me, it's like you go and visit a different country every time. You know, it's always same but different, in a way. So there's always something to learn. So for me, what's most important is not necessarily the title, but what you get out from that job, and to get as best as you can at what you're doing, and to make yourself all the time more employable. And this industry is also about who you know. So it really doesn't matter if you, for me, for example, if I go in as a trainee, that doesn't really matter, because when you're there, the people who you're working with will tell very easily how much you know, and do you know what I mean, and where you are in the levels. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's that much about the title. It's about learning as much as you can, knowing a lot of people, and yeah. For example, my next job is as an artist. I've done one as a trainee. I've done as whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it really doesn't matter that.
I mean, Susan. Oh, sorry, Susan. And you obviously you've just employed Olimpia and Pia, as you said, and I think you sort of mentioned that almost a title. It's the production, it's a title there, but with regards to work, both the girls were doing far and above their positions, as it were, whatever.
Absolutely, yeah, they were. I mean, because of this COVID restrictions and all things, I wasn't allowed to bring dailies on of any sort as well. And basically, both Olimpia and Pia have been everything. They haven't just run the job of trainee. They have been makeup artists on main team as well, and standing by main team. So it's been incredible, and I think they've had Olympia's already got that experience, but for Pia, I think she's had quite a rich experience from the job, but you can ask her, and because of the going across the levels, really. And she's been amazing, because with continuity, and there's been so much. She's taken care of all my continuity folders. Really, she's been my little supervisor. Really, it's been amazing.
Pia, was it? I mean, tell us, Pia, about your experience on this project, and was it scary? What did you obviously you coped very well by the sound of it, but yeah, tell us a bit more about that.
I was so nervous. I remember Susan calling me, and like straight away I was like, yes, 100%. Like I was so excited, and then it kind of the nerves sunk in, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just panicked about everything. And then I got there, and I was like, what was I worried about? Like like everything just kind of flowed. Like it was a bit overwhelming, but I felt very comfortable. I felt like instantly I was kind of back in knowing what I was doing, even though I hadn't been on a main bus. I hadn't been on the main bus before anyway. So I think that in the back of my head, it was just sat there, and I had all these questions and was too scared to ask sometimes. And I think that's the other thing. Well, it's not a bad thing to ask questions. And I think the great thing about being a trainee is that people, like Olympia said earlier, people know what level you're on, and there is so much respect for how much we have to learn. And I mean, I've learnt so much on this job, and I've just had such an amazing experience. It's still, even now, I mean, we only wrapped yesterday, so everything's still that hasn't kind of sunk in yet either. So I'm probably a little bit still in work mode.
This might sound, it may be a silly question, Pia, but I mean, because obviously you're there to work and you've got to do all these things as Susan, and continuity and this and that, and almost because of the current situation, more so. Do you have time to, can you learn as well, or obviously, or are you
100%, 100%? Like, I think it's very important. Like, there's a few times where I've just found myself, if I've had time where, we've had people in for the call and there's no one in the chair, and I'm just helping out all the artists and passing pins and stuff. I'm just watching everything of what everyone's doing, and I think that in itself, like, you're watching, you're learning. Everyone has different ways of doing things as well. So there's always, like, maybe if you struggle with something, you might see someone else do it in a different way and think, oh, that might work for me. And you learn a lot. And I think we've had a few times where, like, Susan sat down with us, if we've had time, and just, gone through things with us, like, is there anything you want to learn? And just spoke to us about things. And if, like, she could show us something, she would. And yeah, I do think you're just learning all the time. And, it's just, you're learning all the time, honestly. It's been an amazing experience.
Can I just ask Susan, just whilst we're here, I just want a little update on Marcella.
Oh.
And how the filming was, how you found it filming in Belfast. Did you have access to crews okay? I mean, this was done before the lockdown, wasn't it? And just something multi-episodic. It's a very different look for her. You've got that scar bit. There's that bit. I think a lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of wigs were used, because I watch it and I know. And there was times when you was jumping back to her as Marcella, times that you was kind of sort of taking her back to the past, and then that bit where she cuts her hair. That bit where she cuts her hair, had that been shot in the previous season, or did you do that?
No, that was shot in the previous one. Yeah. And then we went back to using those wigs again. But first of all, I got that job because of you. And you were, had I not come to Cbma, I wouldn't have had that job. I actually wouldn't be in this position now. So that's quite interesting.
In the car with all your stuff.
But
the lady in the van.
Happy in it. Basically, obviously, you put me forward for that, and it was that confidence that I went forward and got it, and it was an amazing experience for me, because that was my first job of designing, and there was lots of wigs, and wigs were my thing, really, because I'd been with the wigs for a while before that, and it was something that I felt very comfortable with. Obviously, I ended up being HOD and then personal to Anna, and I learned an awful lot from Anna herself, really, because I think that, you always said to me, Chrissy, you said, look, when you meet your artist, whatever, just ask them for their makeup bag, whatever they've got in it, let them show you what they like and what they have. And I think that was such an amazing tip, because people know what they like, and I think you sort of pull together with each other and find out what it is that they want and what makes them feel, comfortable in their face as well. And it was an amazing experience. I mean, working in Belfast and meeting a whole different set of people that I didn't know, in the industry, and I had to take people who were recommended that I hadn't worked with, obviously, before, and so forth. And, and we had to settle in together. And, in the end, we all did come together. You know, it's about making a team work. You come up against things always, I think. I don't know, but I felt like, you know, you always got things that you come up against that you get over, and you have to keep calm and carry on. And I think, you know, that's what it's all about as well. It's about breathing in, breathing out. You know, with whatever you come up with, you have to, you know, see yourself through it, and it builds your character as well. You know, if it was all plain sailing, then, you know.
Yeah, I think that is one of the specifics of being a designer. I think a lot of it is keeping your team calm, just keeping your actors calm, and also just that sort of thing of, you know, it's not all, I would say it's not always a great thing to aspire to be a designer, because sometimes you have much more fun just as one of the team members, because sometimes as a designer you're literally just making sure everything is neutral, making sure you're doing what the studio wants, what the director wants, what the actor wants. And I know also, I mean, what I sort of loved about the Marcella is that I loved that the scar wasn't too prominent. Do you know, I mean, you knew it was there because anyone that had seen the previous series knows how it ends. Do you know what I mean? And you see the flashbacks and things. And you're right. I do know Anna. I'm very, very fond of Anna. We're friends from years back. And one thing I will always say about Anna and most actors is that they are they're very aware of what their character would and would not do. And I think it's, you know, people often talk to me when I'm designing things and say, oh, well, how do you get the actor to kind of be on board with what you want to do? And I'm just like, well, actually, it's a collaboration. It will always be a collaboration because, you know, my first question to the actor, you know, aside from the makeup bag, would always be, you know, how do you see your character? Do you know what I mean? And you kind of just need to kind of just feed on what they're telling you and then incorporate it with everything else. So, you know, I mean, it is sort of interesting, and you know, I think anyway, I really enjoyed it. I'll end up going along about everything. And
okay, we've got some questions coming. So for Julia at the moment, Julia, one of our students, is asking, how did you feel, Susan, about transitioning to a designer job? Was it easy, difficult for you? And would you, we mentioned this already about going back, so, you know, how was it transitioning to becoming a designer?
Well, I think for me, I love a challenge in life, you know, because I think that, you know, when you get to a certain point where you're just comfortable in what you're doing, for me personally, I don't feel like I'm growing then, you know, and so I like to be challenged, and it makes me feel like I'm going forward, you know, as an artist as well. And so I felt fine about all of that because I suppose I was prepared in my mind transitioning over to that side of things. And no, it wasn't overwhelming. It was challenging, but not overwhelming. Yeah.
But it's good, like you say, you've got to sort of keep moving forward, you know, and sort of progression. But then I suppose, you know, as Pia and Olimpia saying, you know, like you're learning on each job, you're learning new sort of skills and stuff.
Always.
One question for two of you at least, but it's what's the difference of working on a TV show and working on a film, and which do you prefer? So I suppose Susan and Olimpia.
Do you want to go first, Olimpia? You go.
All right. So, well, creativity-wise, things are kind of like the same. What is different is that for working in TV, it's a faster pace to everything. When you're working on a film, you might shoot like one scene a day or 2 scenes a day tops. Whereas when you work on a TV series, you would shoot probably 10 to who knows. In Romania, we used to shoot on a soap opera 1 episode a day. So everything is at a faster rhythm. Then there are a lot of changes that you have to do for the actors, for example, to change them from one scene to the next. What else? For me, TV and film are sort of the same thing because, as I said, in terms of creativity, when you read the script and you build the character, it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not very different creativity wise and so on. And now I think like TV series are getting to the levels of the films. There are so many TV series that, you know, people watch, like for example Marcella or Game of Thrones or whatever. You know what I mean? And is the gap that used to be before is not that big. Is not that big now. I for me I don't think I have a preference. It might be that sometimes on films you might be a little bit more challenged in terms of working with famous actors, more famous actors or directors, and that might be a little bit of a difference, but not so much now because big actors are cast in big films and big TV series now. So
I think the gap is closing down a lot. You know.
Yes, I do think so.
So it's a sort of challenging. Susan, and would you agree as well?
Yeah, I obviously in television series, I think there's this it's not television series, but TV basically. It feels smaller. That's all I can say. It just feels like a smaller unit. You're all moving together within, and everybody really does get to know each other. Whereas in film, I think it's a much grander scale, you know, and you don't get to know everyone, you know. Whereas in television, you're within it. There's this kind of like unit. It's sort of a family unit. But I think that in film, you know, you create your family unit as well within your unit, if you know what I mean. And you get, it crosses over and so forth. But it's creativity wise, I would say that, you know, obviously you're looking to get a level of work that you're going to be happy with anyway, you know. And I've kind of done different roles within it in from television into film. You know, I've worked in crowd and second unit and some on main bus, but you know, I just like working. That's all. I just like working. Whatever it is.
Lots of questions coming in. Well, sort of per Pia as well, really. So, what's your from Anna? What's your top tip you would give to students currently doing the course at Cbma? Is there anything you wish you had done? That would be the first question.
I mean, being at Cbma, we learn literally. Sorry, I thought my camera had gone then. I felt like Olimpia said earlier, like you literally learn everything you need to know. But I think the most important thing I can say is just make sure, you know, that you are focused when you're there, and that, you know, I think when you're passionate about something anyway, you put your all into learning things that you'll need to know anyway. But my top tip would just be, just really focus. You know, there are some really amazing tutors at the academy as well, and everyone's got their own techniques, their own experiences, and I think, you know, maybe, you know, ask a lot of questions and don't be afraid to ask questions, and have faith in yourself, and knowing that, you know, asking questions and listen to people.
It is true, I think, because I think to begin with, you know, there's always that thing about, you know, am I going to ask a silly question? You know,
don't be afraid of it.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, some are asking about, do you learn continuity? Do you learn all the things you need to begin as a makeup trainee? And did the work experience that you got, did that help as well in moving you forward and giving you that confidence?
100%. if I didn't have the work experience, that it taught me so much. I can't even remember how many days I was on the Nevers floor now, but I learnt so much in the time that I was there, and that gave me just that basic knowledge. I learned, even just being on set, there's a lot of things that, I was quite nervous just to go on set for the first time and not knowing really how things would work exactly, knowing that people, every set's different, and that made me quite nervous anyway. But you learn so much when you're there. Everyone's just really lovely in the industry as well, and once you kind of get to know who is who in the crew and know who to talk to about what, and everything just flows from there. And yeah, continuity wise, Amy, who was on the Nevers, helped me so much with that, and I picked it up really quickly, luckily. So yeah.
I suppose it's all those other traits that every sort of Saturday we mention it, about sort of good work ethic, working hard, listening, getting stuck in, being a team player. Chrissy is forever mentioning, being a team player. Chrissy makes teas and coffee. Everyone does, we're all in it together.
Look after each other.
You might be hearing my dog snoring, so I keep trying to push her off the
I suppose this next question would be to all three of you. Maybe start with Susan. What are from Kaya? What are the traits of a good trainee? What that you're looking for or something?
A good trainee needs to be listening to what and watching and just being there, being available, and having a good attitude towards anything that is put forward to the trainee, really. Just to be available, and wanting to learn, with really wanting to learn and not being scared to ask questions and what have you. But it's a big thing is personality. It's about having the right attitude towards what you're doing and caring about what you do. I think.
No, that's absolutely sound advice. Olimpia, what traits for a good trainee would you say?
I think, like Susan said, for me, first one is be kind. Be kind, have a good attitude, try to be one step ahead of everybody. So that means like watch everybody from one day to another. You kind of like learn things. So if you go there and day one things, unravel in a certain way, then day two, to get like all the information that you had from day one and adjust. Watch everybody, watch what they're doing, watch what they like doing, and not only in terms of like watch how they're set up their station, watch which one is their favorite brush, or where they like to keep their set bags, or I don't know, like what else? Try to communicate with everybody. But when I say communicate with everybody, it doesn't mean like go and chat everywhere and all that stuff, because this is another thing that it's kind of like a bit of an unwritten rule, is like when to speak, when to shut up.
But that's part of the observing, isn't it? Of reading it and seeing and what and who and how. We've got Cynthia, one of our lovely theatre tutor is listening. Hi, Cynthia. Cynthia's asking Susan and I suppose and Christine a question. How do you help trainees transition into higher roles? So Susan, it says, it sounds like you've given them such a wonderful on-the-job experience. So maybe Susan and Chrissy, how do people transition from a trainee to a junior position?
Well, I'll pass that one to Chrissy first.
I kind of think a lot of it is sort of observing how capable they are. I mean, the thing what you don't want to do is you don't want anybody to transition from a trainee to a junior and set them off into the world, and they suddenly are in a crowd room and they're being asked to do something as a junior, and it's going to backfire greatly if they can't, you know, do what is expected of them. I think what is important to know is that the industry is actually very small. The crowd rooms are usually all run by there's a team of crowd supervisors that all liaise very closely, and I think they kind of pretty much sort of like gauge when it's time to kind of go to the next level. I mean, Peter and I we were trying to instigate like sort of assessment levels a few years back, and we tried for a couple of years sort of trying to get a lot of people involved, and you know, getting messages from a lot of designers about what they needed for somebody to say they're a junior, and the trouble is it's very hard to get all of the relevant people kind of to knot together at the right time. You know, everybody's sort of like, at the moment, you know, everybody's getting busier and busier. And I kind of do think it's one of the tough things to say when it's the right time to progress from trainee to junior. But I think you've got to be a bit fluid about it. I mean, if you're a trainee and you get asked to go onto a film, you've been a trainee for 2 years and you get asked to go onto a film that is contemporary, or a TV series that's contemporary, then I would say you would definitely be in line to be upgraded to a junior on that, because it's contemporary. If it was period or sci-fi or something where you're still going to learn, you know. But there's no, you know, it's unfortunate, there's no actual strict levels as to when you can sort of say, this is my time to jump. It's kind of, you sort of feel, you know, we all ask advice and we all sort of talk to each other, and we kind of sort of say, I think really you should go in as a junior, or, you know, likewise, and I'm not going to go on about this too much, but some people come to us with more experience than others. And it's like, for instance, when Susan came to study with us, we knew her background. We knew that she'd sort of been on set. We knew that she had a strong hairdressing background. You know, what was lacking was the whole wig things, which is where she was at the time, you know, probably the things she needed to sort of work on and things. But the thing is that Susan was never going to, you know, she never really needed to come out and be a trainee straight away, because she was too qualified already to be like that. You know, she didn't need to know where to be on set, and, you know, and it's kind of sort of, everybody is very different as to when they progress to the next level, really. Susan, your turn.
Yeah, I think everything, just reiterating like what you're saying as well, it is about where people are at and what level they're at, and also everybody has a different strength artistically when they approach things, and you know, everybody takes in things differently. So yeah, I think that progression thing is all to do with you are all unique in the way that we take things on. But yeah, I can only just add to what you said.
And I also think that it's that thing of, you know, we said earlier about, you know, trainee and then a junior and then a makeup artist and a trainee. I think each project, I think, as you're both saying, and maybe Cynthia agrees or not, is that each project has its own challenges, you know, slightly easier or slightly more challenging, you know. So, and as we've also sort of said, I think, you know, whatever you are, you're learning at any level, sort of thing, you know. So I think, yeah, it's a difficult one to answer completely, I suppose.
We lost Pia.
Pia, oh, Pia?
Pia, are you there still?
Where is she?
She's probably gone to bed, poor thing. I think she's driving through the night.
Hopefully Pia will come back to us. Here's a nice, interesting question from Sean. Can anyone be good at hair and makeup with enough practice, or do you think there needs to be an element of being naturally gifted? What would you say?
That's a real tough one, though, because that's, oh, sorry, I know you didn't ask me.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like I don't know. I kind of think when you're taught, I remember teaching a hairdresser once back in the day when I had my hairdressing salon, and I remember saying to him when he was allocated to me as my trainee, way back when. I mean, back in the Raffles days of hairdressing, and I kind of remember sort of like trying to sort of like teach him things of just how to section hair. I remember sort of saying to him at the time, you're treating hair like you've got boxing gloves on. And you know, you kind of got to kind of sort of like believe in yourself more, and kind of sort of like, you know, people can sense when you're not kind of sort of, when you're a bit fearful, especially of hair and things. And I was like, you know, don't let it daunt you. And I kind of remember he was my trainee for ages, and then he ended up kind of moving with me when I opened up my own salon, and now he's got his own fleet of hairdressers. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of sort of think, I mean, at the time when I first met him, I was just like, seriously, I mean, this is going to be hard, you know, and now he's flipping, you know, got salons all over the place. So it's a real tough one. I think it depends on how determined people are to kind of do it. You know, it's like riding a bike. It might not be natural, but ultimately, if you keep trying and keep trying, you will get the gist of what you're doing.
But also, do you know, Chrissy, we've mentioned,
I think it's great if you've got a natural career.
But do you know that we mentioned before in the past, sometimes when hairdressers come to the course, or someone from a beauty background, there's kind of different challenges in teaching them, or it's almost like to retrain them in a different way. So it's a different challenge, isn't it? Rather than someone who has no background and it's like a clean slate.
Yeah.
Susan?
Yeah, I think basically whatever people bring with them, you know, it's a pool of everything that you bring with you in life, isn't it? Of which direction you're going to end up going in. And I think you can absolutely learn the different skills without a shadow of a doubt. You know, if you are persistent and you have a desire to want to learn and you don't give up. And I think it's about not giving up on yourself with things. If it's something that you really want to do, you can achieve it. You know, it's about what's in your mind and keeping yourself moving forward. Some people, you know, and sometimes you can get put off by, you know, somebody might be more naturally able to do something than what you feel you are at that time. But, you know, and some people do have a natural ability, you know, in that way. But I agree with what Chrissy said about her trainee. I think you can, if you have a desire in anything that you want to do in life, if you keep on going, you can achieve it.
What about you, Olimpia? About having skills beforehand or not? Because you did, before you did the makeup course in Romania, you didn't have any, as it were, sort of skills in hair anyway, or much in makeup.
No, I did not have. Actually, before starting in Romania, I did have no experience whatsoever in hair or makeup. When I came to London, I did not have any experience in hair, more than, as I said before, you know, like I've learned a lot in Romania just by watching people, how they do stuff, even though I didn't maybe actually did it myself. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot hair wise and at the academy, and not only, and just for example, like even on my last project with Susan, I did learn quite some stuff regarding hair and little tips and tricks. And I think it's always about learning. And everybody has their own way in doing things. And what I found to be, for myself, a bit challenging regarding hair is this thing of like do the hairstyle like they did it themselves, you know. I find that the easiest might be the most complicated.
No, I just got in there because actually teaching people, especially when people come from a hairdressing background, the hardest thing to teach a hairdresser, especially someone that's a very established hairdresser when they come into the makeup school, is how to make hair look like it hasn't just been done.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a real character thing. So I just have to say that just because it always makes me laugh.
Well, when we in the early days of the academy, and Chrissy would talk about makeup, no makeup. It's silly now, but I would be baffled. I'd be sitting there thinking, well, what does that mean? I just don't understand that.
You know a lot more now about makeup than you ever thought you'd know when you was in
with lots of my girlfriends, I keep saying, oh, did you really use that blusher? Oh, Pia's back. Well done.
I'm back.
back.
Sorry about that, guys. That's a massive tip for any trainee. Make sure that you purchase one of these, a little power bank. Communication is key.
Also, Pia, how do you think that you need to be able to drive, or do you think you could live without your car when you're a trainee on a job?
That's a really tough question for me because I personally do rely on my car quite a lot. I think it's very important. I definitely would say it's better if you can drive. I've not had the experience of not being able to drive to and from, so it's a really hard question for me to answer. But
well,
I mean,
in all fairness, I know that it's because I know that Steph, one of our other graduates, Stephanie Smith. I mean, she kind of sort of incorporates her Uber fare into her sort of expenses, if you like, when she sort of did it, and she manages perfectly well. And in fact, she's another one that sort of is designing her own shows now. But it is, and the other thing that I always think is that you can hire cars. You know, you can do those. You can kind of just do those zip cars and things. So I don't think it's so sort of. I think having your license is probably important. But you know, maybe it's not so essential now. I don't know. I think the world is changing.
Yeah, we do have a lot of transport, so I mean, there's definitely ways of doing it. I just haven't experienced. So. But
it's also a thing of, you know, like there's no, when I say there's no excuse, there's no reason for you know that for something to stop you from wanting to train or wanting to become a makeup artist. I mean, we've heard today that yes, having some certain skills and stuff is a wonderful thing, but it's not necessary. And we've talked about organising, planning, and listening and observing. And so there's lots and lots of things that you know to do to make it happen. There's no reason why you can't live your dream. As Pia, you said, you know, having a passion and desire is a great help, and that's why all three of you have done incredibly well. Hard working and passion. I think they're two things that we definitely say first of all, and you know, hopefully you'll move into a home soon, Susan.
You sound like you're winding us up, and we've obviously run out of time. So, but I think it is really good for everyone to see that these guys have literally just come back from filming. Susan's car is just she's still got all, she doesn't even unpack. She literally arrived back sort of 5 minutes before we went live on this chat. And Olympia, I take it you got back late last night as well?
No, actually, I got home last night. Actually, yeah, but we did wrap last night, but
yes, we did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tired. She's still tired. God bless her.
I know. It's so funny. It's almost like, what do we used to call it? You know, when you come out of filming, and we used to have this great name for it. We used to sort of say, like, coming back into your home life is like re-entry. You know, it's like you've kind of been living in this filming bubble, especially with the COVID and all of the different rules that you've got at the moment, you know, and it's much harder just to get people out for its experience, and you know, you can't ad hoc sort of get people in, which is why you're sort of saying that you know, it's inevitable that when you're lucky enough to be on a film or a TV show at the moment, you're kind of going to be expected to be able to do a lot more, partly because you're being tested, you're being you're being checked for COVID, you know, your COVID guidelines, and the whole idea at the moment is keeping everything as minimal as possible. I mean, it is worth sort of saying on the whole COVID front, because I know a lot of people worry about our industry and that at the moment, but, you know, we are still running, you know, it's getting very busy out there. And there's a lot of big films sort of coming up, sort of, you know, especially sort of from June onwards. I mean, it's literally getting very, very busy. Lots of shows, Netflix, HBO, all of the big studios are doing lots of stuff at the moment. So it is a busy old industry that we're in, and we are definitely on our way out of the pandemic. Thank God. Thank God.
Yes, praise be to God. Well, listen, and all of you, all the questions that you've written in that weren't answered will be answered in email. So all questions will be answered. So hopefully that helps. Next week we have Mark Pilcher and Claire Matthews, our teacher, Claire Matthews, in a chat. So do all join for that, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's really rainy and miserable out there, but hopefully it's been fun here. God, I sound like a DJ. That sounds awful.
Are you all going to get? You'll get Susan. Am I going to bump into you up at the Broadway anytime soon? Do you think?
Oh, I do believe so. I'm back for definitely. Yes.
Lots of love, everyone. Talk to you all soon.
It's been really lovely to see you all, especially your faces. It's unusual for us nowadays.
Love and Olimpia.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.